missed you guys. I hope you enjoyed the replays of the previous shows that's been going on for the last, let's see, I think we started last Friday with replays. It's been a little vacation for me, and though I've loved that, I've missed you all. So, hey, out there in the internet radio world, I'm Xavier Fox, the First Lady of Talk on the Astute Gentleman Radio Network. Welcome to my show. Let's talk about it. And that's exactly what we'll do. We're talking about relationships, sharing information on health and fitness, getting our money right with investing info. And yes, we're going to talk about sex. You never know what controversial, intriguing, intense conversations might take place on this show or who might be the next special guest. I'm here on Monday mornings from 7 to 9 a.m. and on Thursdays and Fridays from 12 to 2. Tune in for this journey and be ready to laugh and open to learn as we explore different viewpoints. Today, we are kicking off April Fool's Day with a conversation about fools in love. Do you know anyone who fits that description? Possibly we all fit that description at some point in our lives. Then she's back. Attorney April Prayer is back with what I like to call her legal expose. She exposes us all to the ins and outs, good and bad, of the legal system. Today, she has a couple guests joining her, and they'll be laying down the law. If you want to participate on the show today, feel free to Zoom in using the link which you can find on my Facebook page, Xavier Fox, or join the public Facebook group, Let's Talk About It with Xavier Fox, where you can get all the show info and interact with the personalities on the show. So let's get to it. How you doing today, Khalid?
I am doing well, Lady X. How are you, sweetheart?
I am great. I am great. You know, just making these moves back and forth, making things happen. You know how life is. Got to keep it
Hey, that's
moving,
what
right?
we do.
That's
That's
right.
what we do.
So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let me wish everybody a happy April 1st, which we know is AKA what? April Fool's Day, right?
that's right. That's right.
And it's funny, X. You know, I sent you the title, what, about a month and a half ago? And
Uh-huh.
I was like, now, what am I specifically going to say for our Fools in Love segment, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then look what happened on last Sunday night, right?
Oh my God. Oh my God. It is so
So
interesting
in
that you
the
tied that
time,
in. Yes. Oh, oh my God.
the timing of that is just sad but perfect,
Oh
you
my
know,
God. Yeah.
especially for us to sit down and debrief about, you know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
and and I realize that everybody is like, okay, it's getting kind of old now. But what I want to discuss is the things we do for the people that we love. And sometimes the things we do are foolish.
Yes, they are. Oh my God. That was like the worst thing ever. And,
I
and
know.
okay, because I'll do that toward the end though, because I got a little dissertation I want to let out. I'll do it at the end because Jada was so wrong. She was just so wrong. Anyway,
I
okay.
know. I know. I know. But that man is in love with his wife. Whether we think he is or isn't, he is. And when you're a fool in love, you follow the person you're in love with,
Hmm,
whether it be rational, whether it be based on emotions. You follow where they lead you.
hmm,
And it just appears that, wow, something that Will was missing, she fulfilled, meaning Jada.
hmm.
And because she's a broken woman, because I want people to remember that Jada is broken. Her dad abandoned her and her mom for another woman and had another child, right?
Oh, I didn't know
So
that.
Jada has a half brother, right? And then her mother, that beautiful Adrian, her mom is an ex heroin addict.
Oh, wow.
So imagine what Jada went through growing up. And then the first love of her life is who? Tupac Shakur. And even though we had this adoration from him, he was a broken young man.
Yeah, he was.
So it's something when two broken people fall in love with each other, get ready for the fireworks. And that's what it is. It's fireworks. popping off all the time. And the reason why I'm giving this substance or this background noise is because when people do certain things, it behooves us, if we choose to understand the premise of where does it come from? Where does it come from? I think all of us educated folks or people who've been in love before understand when that man got up, went on that stage and punched Chris Rock, smacked him. That smack did not come from that joke alone.
Mm-hmm.
That joke was the last straw, right?
But he
But it
laughed
was
at
a
first.
build-up.
He laughed at first.
He did because it was a joke just saying, hey, you could play G.I. Jane because both of you all have shaved heads, right? And remember with that man, you guys think about this. Will Smith woke up Sunday morning saying, man, me, my wife, my kids, we're going to dress up. We're going to get ready to go to these Academy Awards. And I might finally, after 3 decades in this business, going to get the award that any actor wants to get in his career.
Right.
So he did not wake up saying, by this tonight, I will be one of the most hated men in America and in the world. So you got to know that, right?
I think more people feel sorry for Will. Now, Jada is another story.
Right. But see, what I want us to do is have some empathy for her as well. Because again, like I said prior, X, she's broken. She's broken, you know? And it's funny. And it's funny, you know, she does the red table where she lets people get out their pain, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and remember, Jada is not a clinician. You know, she's an actress, right? And so she's letting people discuss hot topic issues because that's what it is. It's not a therapeutic table.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so what happens is, but she also understands where she works. She knows the hottest the topic is, the more relevant you are. And that couple is worth what, almost 500 million, right?
Yeah.
So the more they're out in public, the more they stay on our lips.
That's right. The more relevant.
The better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Will Smith is making money off of this, whether we know it or not.
Right.
Whether
because, you know, in that industry, it's like no publicity is bad publicity.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So now let's go and peel the onions back, X.
Okay.
Let's go back to to why do we make the foolish choices that we do in regards to love, right? Mm-hmm. So X, I want you and the rest of the listeners to go back to somebody you were linked with romantically, but you were a fool for. Just kind of do a mental note about that person. Put the person in your head, right? Now that you are grown and mature, right? And I mean, it could have been a recent love, right? Mm-hmm. But the thing is, when you sit back now in your rational mind, you're like, why in the hell did I give them that much power over me? But when somebody is making your mind, your body, and most importantly, your spirit feel good, you're going to play the fool for them. You're going to play the fool for them. You know, when I got divorced, one of the things that people used to drive me insane with is, Khalid, did you see the red flags? Did you see the red flags? And that's a question we ask everybody. Did you see the red flags, right? Because what people are saying is, did it just happen? Or did you see a pattern in development, right? Mm-hmm. And so you say to yourself, when you do your self-reflection and your insight, you say, yeah, I saw it. I knew I married a free spirit. But you know what? Because I'm such a, a goof. I'm such a nerd. I'm such a lame. Do you know how exciting it was to be with a free spirit who was a Scorpio?
Oh
Are
my
you
God.
kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Them
I
Scorpios.
was married to a free spirit Scorpio. Now, I think about that with a nerve. That
Mm-hmm.
woman turned my life inside out, and I loved every minute of it.
Mm-hmm.
But then the thing that you love about somebody can be the same thing that makes you cannot stand the sight of them.
Mm.
So you used to love the way they made you laugh, but now you can't stand their toxic sense of humor, right? Because you develop, you mature, right? And so you sit back and like, damn, what was I thinking? And see, the thing is, we all have to go through our chapters in our book.
Yes.
And that's a chapter in your life that you wrote, read, and moved on to the next chapter. But you
Mm-hmm.
had to go through it. There is no testimony without a test.
That's true.
There's no testimony without a test. So the foolish stuff that I did, that I did for my ex-wife, that I did for my first love back in my early 20s, who was from Milwaukee.
Uh-oh.
My
Uh-oh.
first love was from Milwaukee, so I can't mess with y'all Milwaukee people. I can't. I can't no more. She laid it down for me, But the thing is, you learn your lesson and you grow. And what I'm praying and hoping that happens with the Smith family, that this will be the camel to break their back to say, you know what? Let us sit back and let us go private. Now that Will has his Oscar, he has did the ultimate achievement. Not only is he a superstar, not only is he close to being a billionaire, but he has the highest acclaim that you get as an entertainer, right?
Mm-hmm.
You gonna raise 3 kids, you know what I'm saying? Now go and work on y'all marriage and go quiet. Because you ain't got nothing to prove no more. And let us miss you, Will and Jada. Let us miss you. Because even before what happened on Sunday, everybody was saying, Will and Jada need to sit their butts down a little.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think they'll realize we need to sit our butts down, right? So then they can go and reflect on all of this, right? And so I'm hearing people emasculate Will. What I'm telling people is the reason why that man went on that stage because y'all been emasculating him. So stop it. Stop it. No man wants to be emasculated. Right?
So that was his way of showing the public that he...
Absolutely. But see, he hit the wrong person. You go and hit 155-pound Chris Rock. Well, you ain't done nothing. Now you sit up there and you hit the Rock. You know what I'm saying? Then we gonna talk about something.
Because I'm like, I might could take Chris on a good day.
Chris Rock, what, probably like 5'11", while he's 6'2", 6'3".
Right.
So it got him nowhere. And see, I want to also discuss the disparity, how Black women see what he did versus Black men. Black women are like, oh my God, he did what he did was wrong, but he defended his woman.
And that's where part of what
needed to see that.
That's what part of what I don't see, that he defended his woman.
I got you.
That's not what I saw, because I saw the face that Jada made, and I saw, and I put it on a post. To me, it was like, when you got a pit bull and it's just wandering around, grazing, minding its own business, whatever it's doing, and then you see a threat and you say, sick, and all of a sudden it hops into action because it's trained to do that. That is what I saw that night. Jada made that face, Will saw it, and he's like, oh, I better do something, otherwise it's going to be hell to pay when I get back home. I didn't see him defending her. I saw him responding to whatever hold she has over him. Like you said, he's a fool in love. That's what I saw.
Yes. And see, the thing is, different people will see different things based on what you're going through in life sometimes, right? So The reason why black men say, brother, you was out of order for going to hit that dude. Because a lot of men are like, dude, you let your wife get out of order by sleeping with a 23-year-old best friend of your son, you know what I'm saying, and going public with it.
Right.
So guys are mad at Jada Pinkett right now.
Yes.
Guys are mad at her. Because they like, you threw our good guy Will out there. Because Will Smith is seen as everybody's brother, everybody's best friend, right? Mm-hmm. So he's not a villain, right?
We've known
Just
him since
like
Fresh
how
Prince.
people are, huh?
We've known him since Fresh Prince. We saw him grow up.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So he has the same effect that Russell Wilson has, right? In regards to Sierra. Mm-hmm. Black men do not like Sierra with Russell Wilson. Why? Because Russell Wilson is your little brother or your big brother who's such a good guy. And then he gets with this old vixen, Sierra, who we think is using him. Well, see, remember, what did I say about me and my ex-wife? When you've been the good cat, the good guy, you like that little fire that vixen brings to your life, right? And you're enamored by it. Well, see, guys are like, Brother Wilson, you better be careful. She gonna lay down with 50 Cent and Bow Wow and this and Future. You know, she was Future baby mama number 4. Not like she was number 1. She was number 4. So she knew who that.
Uh-oh. Did you mute? You muted yourself. You muted yourself.
Okay, hold on. Can you hear me?
I hear you now. Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry about that. So what happens is we go into protection mode of each other, which people think black men don't do. But when we know you're a good cat, you know what I'm saying, and we see you with that vixen woman, we like, bro, come over here for a minute. Come here for a minute. Man, watch it. So that's what I'm saying. So it's this disparity. But at the end of all, that was our favorite couple at one time. Mm-hmm. Now they on lost rank. And us black people, we need our super couples. You know what I'm saying? We need our super couples.
We need some example of real love. And,
absolutely.
Here's the thing for me, because, I believe that love is a verb. The only person that night that had any power over Will was Jada. She had the power to make him hop up and do that. She also had the power to stop him. And that ties into my other thought, because as a wife, as a woman who loves him, as a woman who is in that industry and should have been thinking, this is one of the biggest nights of Will's life. Yes. Let me stop him, because this joke, and we all know that when you are at a comedy show and you are in the front row, you are going to get roasted. I was in the front row at a D.L. Hughley comedy show one time years ago, and the guy I was with had on one of them, I call them pimp suits, but it's the suits that's got the long jacket. And so D.L. roasted him about stepping right out of the 70s and coming straight to the comedy show. That's just what happens when you in the front row. They in the front row. And I mean, honestly, I didn't know that Jada has a condition. I don't know how many people did, but I don't follow like that. I don't watch the red table thing or whatever. So I don't follow like that. When I heard the joke, I thought it was just because it's the same, it's the Army buzz cut. I mean, really, you can't take a joke about the Army buzz cut. And I'm thinking, okay, you could be the next G.I. Jane too, the black woman with the buzz cut. I thought it was kind of a compliment, because I think Jada looks beautiful with her hair like that. She's one of the women that can actually wear that. So when and I didn't see the awards, I saw when I woke up in the middle of the night, because I fell asleep. I woke up in the middle of the night, and that was all that was on my timeline was the replay.
Absolutely.
And I'm like,
absolutely.
Why is this such a big deal? What the heck happened? And why would Will Smith?
Yes.
Why would he do that? I'm like wondering. Then I started reading about this alopecia, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, even if it was a hit at that, okay, I mean, all right, it's still just a joke. But those of us that didn't know, I mean, comedians talk about people with physical deformities. They talk about the LGBTQ. They talk about women with weaves and wigs and the eyelashes that look like they're gonna crawl off your face. I mean,
Right.
everybody gets talked about. They talk about people with autism. Kevin Hart talk about his kids. Bernie Mac used to talk about his niece and nephew. I mean, everybody get it. Kids, adults, everybody get it. And so now, because of this joke, which was very calm,
yes,
this whole thing happens. So to me, love makes you do stuff. And I don't feel either, as you talked about Jada's background, either she don't know how to love. Because I asked somebody that once, when did you learn how to love? Especially if your background is messed up. When did you learn how to love? And where did you learn it from? So either she don't love him, just period, don't love him. Or two, she really don't know how to love. She don't really know what love. There's no way. And my daughter, my oldest daughter, she's married, and she brought the conversation out. She said, it ain't no way I would have let mine go up there on one of the biggest nights of his life that's going to push his career forward and do something stupid like that. I'd have been like, baby, them just words. I can handle that. Now, if somebody comes to physically attack you, yes, you want your man to jump in and save you from that.
Absolutely.
But some words, come on now. Either she don't love him or she just don't know how to love. And by now, he needs to have figured that out. One of them two.
Right. And that's why I'm saying, X, that as a marriage therapist, I want them to come and see a Khalid Scott. I really do. And I mean, when they come and see a Khalid Scott, I want them to sit down and go bare naked in front of a mirror, come and see a Khalid Scott, because that's how they're going to move. I mean, because of their ways, look how they kids move around. You know what I'm saying? Here it is, your daddy from Philly and your mama from B-More, and y'all two kids act that way. You know what I'm saying? And I get it, they artsy-fartsy kids who grew up rich and wealthy. I get it, but it's still about foundation. Mm-hmm. It's still about foundation. Mm-hmm. And so the thing is, those both, and then I heard little excerpts from Will's, autobiography. That young man has been through it. He's been through it. Watching his dad beat his mom like he had to, So that's what I'm saying. If we really sit back and peel the layers and learn the background stories of people, now it makes sense why what happened Sunday happened. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So, go ahead.
So men have been falsely, in some cases, given the privilege of being referred to as the ones who operate on logic.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And
yes.
So,
yes. Yes.
At our age, and with the experiences in life that we have, and to have achieved the status that he has, at some point, some logic and some good decision-making skills had to have been developed along the way to some degree. And I was just wondering how in that moment, all the logic, I know you got the background, because we all got some, I've shared some of my backgrounds. We all got some messed up backgrounds, and sometimes our messed up backgrounds can give us a leg. And when you was talking about who you've been a fool for, and I can say I haven't been a fool for nobody because my daddy was a player. So he taught me other stuff that didn't put me in that position. Now I ain't saying I never had a heart broke, but I wasn't no fool for it or behind it. Neither one of those. So I think we all got our issues, but at that moment is what I don't get. At that moment, he didn't beat up August. I'm sure there are many other situations. I mean, even if he wanted to wring Chris Rock's neck, it didn't dawn on him at some point on the walk up on the stage that maybe I shouldn't do this here. Let me meet him backstage. Let me meet him at the after party, but on worldwide TV and internet, this is what you want to do at this point in your career. Is that, I just, that's where I hold Will accountable, because he had time to make a different decision. He had to walk all the way
Absolutely.
up there. He had time to make a different
Absolutely.
decision. And I understand, that he watched his dad beat his mom in that, but Chris wasn't beating Jada. Chris told a joke about hair that most of us didn't even know could have, or I don't even know if Chris knew, could or could not have been a shot at the alopecia. I mean, but I just don't get how he made the decision that this is where I'm going to make a stand and show everybody I'm a man.
Right. And see, the last part of what you just said is the answer to your question. What happens is we walk around with a bunch of background noise, right?
Mm-hmm.
We walk around with a bunch of background, and sometimes that background noise gets a little louder, and we pay attention, but we let it go, and we keep walking around with background noise and background noise. And imagine being cheated on by somebody you are full in love with, and everybody in the world knows about it. They even printed pictures of the young guy, August, of his penis on the internet. So it was like, because the boy was endowed, now, man, that's why Jada did it. Boom. Then Jada got on there and did an interview like, Will wasn't pleasing me sexually.
Good
right?
Lord.
So you got all this back. And then you also remember Will Smith, even though we see him, as a masculine man, it's we pick at him. We pick at him. We pick at him. Because he's still the Fresh Prince kind of soft guy. You know what I'm saying? He's not known as the hard man's man. And when somebody is questioning who you are and the world is emasculating to include your wife, then look at how we target his kids. Both of his kids are sexually fluid, right? So then people are blaming him by saying Jada runs it. He's the wife in a relationship, and then they got two weird kids. At that moment, because he knew it was the largest stage on Sunday, in that moment, I think he wanted to do something that would shut it down from this point on.
That wasn't it. It's not.
I know it wasn't.
It's about to make it worse.
Right, I got you. But be in his moment, not yours, not mine, his moment. Mm-hmm. His moment. And I think that's what triggered it. And that's what I've been trying to explain. And so when I was just like you, I was asleep when it happened. People were texting me. And so when I woke up and saw it, I immediately did one of my posts about it. And I explained it out because everybody was gossiping about it. I wanted to give people context about why that man did what he did. And people love my posts. And I got asked to do 2 interviews regarding it, right? Mm-hmm. Because I look at things, of course, clinically, right? Mm-hmm. So what the reason why I'm giving the explanation that I'm giving tonight is that we all are percolating right now, X. And it may take something as simple as somebody accidentally stepping on your toe for somebody to go off. Because we're hot wired right now.
So I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I read something the other day, and I definitely agree with it. And in connection with what I said before, I believe that love is a verb. And after I ask you this question, we need to get some of our comments, because we got comments adding up over here too.
Okay.
So I believe love is a verb, and I believe love makes you do things, right? Just like you said with Will. So the same is going to apply to Jada. I didn't know about the penis picture floating around, and I had heard something about, she had said that Will didn't satisfy her sexually or whatever that case might be. And I've heard some other stuff. Some people have said that she really created that Red Table Talk show to just humiliate and degrade Will, pretty much. And
Yeah.
taking all of that stuff into consideration, I know, we talked about some people may not know how to love, and then sometimes you just don't love people. I've heard that, they actually got married because she was pregnant with Jaden. And so that was, just like the best thing to do, I guess, because he loved her,
Yeah.
I with all of the stuff I've read and the behaviors and stuff, because no woman that love her man is gonna get
Right.
on a public platform like the Red Table Talk thing or whatever, and talk about how he don't satisfy her sexually. You ain't gonna talk
I
about
know.
your man like that in public. Jada does not love that man. I get what you're talking about, her past, but maybe her past makes her unable to love. But the things that I'm reading and hearing and know, as being a coach myself, she is there for a different reason at this point. Now, maybe she loved him when they first got together and had the babies and stuff. Maybe she did. Or maybe she was trying to replace her dad, or maybe she was trying to replace Tupac. Maybe she,
Yeah.
because we often choose people who fill a void within us. That's how we
Absolutely.
choose people.
Absolutely.
So she was feeling something with Will, and he ain't that. I just don't think she loves him. And so somebody said that she is bad for his image, and I totally agree with that. But I want
Yeah.
to ask you a little deeper question. Do you
Yes.
think that they should be together, or should they take a break from each other? We'll need to regroup, man. So what's your thought?
I think they need to go into, like I said earlier, marriage counseling. Because what happens is, as a marriage therapist, right, when I first meet a couple, I ask both of them, are you ready to do the intense work that this is going to be about, right? And if one of them says, no, we can't do it, right? They both have to be committed to the process, because it's going to be a hurtful process, right? A toxic process is going to feel like, because I have to get you bare naked, like I said earlier, and raw, so that we can go ahead and get to the root of what's going on, so that you all can have a proper relationship that minus the toxicity that's in here, right? And so what happens is, when a wife calls me and says, Mr. Scott, me and my husband need therapy, he cheated on me. Ma'am, I need your husband, Mr. Johnson, to call me, because I hear where your heart is at. I need to hear where his head is at. So the husband calls me, brother, are you ready to do this? Yeah, Mr. Scott, are you feeling emotionally blackmailed into doing this? No, well, at first I did, but I know it's important because I hurt my wife. Good. So what happens then in the therapy first session, we're going in on it. I'm telling them, tell your wife how many women you slept with now. Do not lie, because we got to put it all on the table. Because if nothing else, people need to know what their options are and what their choices are. So the first couple, and I've mentioned them before, the first couple I counseled, the husband and wife celebrated 20 years of marriage, no kids, because she had miscarriages. What happened was, he had a baby outside the marriage with an ex-classmate of his. When the DNA results came back X, the baby was his, but also she found out, because he ended up having to bring it to the light, that he slept with 5 other women, which really, I believe it was 10 women, and he was minimizing.
Mm-hmm.
After that, the wife decided to divorce. But see, what happens is, she was able to make the choice because she knew everything on the table. She was making a decision based on, I know who I'm dealing with now.
Mm-hmm.
Not the person with the mask, not the person who I've been in love with 20 plus years. I know the guy who I'm with is not the guy I need to be with. That's why I'm saying they need to do intense therapy, so then they can decide in their moment of quietness, we need to be together or we don't need to be together. But that is not for none of us to decide, but for those two people. And that's how we got to do the work. And along with doing the marriage therapy, X, I'm telling them, you got to work on you individually. You got to work on you individually. I was just talking to one of my friends. My buddy keeps going from, woman to woman to woman. And I have multiple friends who do that, right? They break up with one, and before they broke up with one, they got the transitional woman already in place.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, brother, when do you sit back and learn how to love you?
Mm-hmm.
Khalid, I know how to love me already. No, you don't, because that's why you got a divorce and 3 breakups back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Something's missing. When me and my buddy got done talking, he was like, I got to go to therapy. Why? Why? Because you know what? When we're so used to our patterns, X, we don't look at them no more because they're second nature. But when you sit back and like, man, the last 4 relationships I had over the last 6 years, they've been toxic. Who's the common denominator?
Mm-hmm.
You.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I said we got to stop playing fool in love now.
Mm-hmm. On April
We got to
Fool's
stop
Day,
playing fool in love.
we got to learn not to play April Fool or Fool of any month. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. 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 Even think of the song by Tina Turner. You're just a fool. You know you're a fool. Why does he do the things he do if he's such a good man?
Right.
Because I keep loving him.
Yep.
Right? And look who that couple that it came from.
Yes. Yes. The most
ultimate toxic couple.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. If your relationship looks anything like that, when you need to run, just like she did from that limo after she kicked his butt. So we got some comments over here. So someone said he was defending his ego.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
And then
absolutely.
There was a comment, because I know I talked about jokes. So someone said there's a limit. You do not joke about a condition. Would he have done that if she had cancer or diabetes and had her toes amputated? And my answer to that is yes, because I love comedy and I've seen comedians joke about all of that stuff. And since a condition is definitely not, a death sentence, a condition is absolutely fair game, because people have definitely talked about diabetes. They've definitely talked about amputees. As a matter of fact, some of them, I can't think of the comedian's name right now, but his younger brother is an amputee, and he's has mental challenges as well. And he gets on stage and, flips the little arm, where the hand goes the opposite way and the elbow sticking out, and he limps a little bit. Comedians make fun of everybody and have been doing that since back in Red Fox days. I remember listening to my dad's comedy tapes. My dad liked comedy too. So this is not new. This goes way back. So yes, conditions, cancer, diabetes. I think they don't necessarily talk about cancer as much because it affects so many people. But I've heard comedians talk about cancer too, especially after you come from chemotherapy and the hair is falling out and stuff. I've heard comedians touch on all of that stuff. And, some people will be like, ooh, but the way the comedians put it is funny to most, because in life, to some degree, we have to laugh at ourselves, because this is all we have. We're not laughing about something that we don't experience. We're laughing about life experiences and how it affects us. So it's
absolutely.
And so they said that doesn't make it okay. And it might not make it okay to some people, but for others, And then there was a comment that says suppression does not work. I'm not sure what that was in regard to, because me and you were talking. But she said his dignity and emasculation happened on a worldwide stage, and he unconsciously was taking his dignity back on that stage.
Absolutely, he was. That's it. Any man knew that. Even though we're saying he was wrong, we know that's where that was the premise of it. I need to shut this down right here and right now. Just get rid of all the naysayers. It just made it worse. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? Look at the conversations we're having behind it, though. We're having rich conversations behind this.
Absolutely. And I'm happy about the conversations. I lay it off a little bit, because the first 2 days afterwards, I was really posting some stuff back to back. And so I laid off a bit. I'm really glad you brought it up today, because I'm actually getting to verbalize some of my thoughts. So another thing she said, I'm not going to say she doesn't love him. I believe she's pulling away from her role as his wife, along with the vows that she made. That's interesting.
Mm,
Yeah, that's
wow. I just think her love is toxic. I just think I think she loves him, but it's toxic based on that's all she knows is toxic love.
mm-hmm.
That's all she knows is toxic love. That's what a lot of us only know. How many of us know rich and healthy love, X? Do that survey, and there go the answer right there.
Well,
I know I don't know it. I didn't grow up seeing it.
like I said, I asked somebody, when did you learn how to love somebody? Where did you learn how? Where do we all learn how to love from? Where and when did we learn how to love? We have this
Right.
idea of what love is based on the fairy tale books we grew up reading, where Prince Charming made
Correct.
life wonderful. But who actually really? Where do we actually see that? Where do we see it?
Absolutely. 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 And so when you look at it like that, then you start filling in the pieces. You know what I'm saying? And then you decide, I'm going to make better choices for me. So me, X, let me use Khalid as always as the example, because I see so many of my male friends who get divorced and jump in relationships and end up getting a second divorce or have the toxic, boyfriend, girlfriend things. I learned, I got to do the work first. I got to do the work. Before I get in another relationship, Khalid got to be right and tight. You know what I'm saying? Because I see what happens if you just carry on the toxicity to another human being, right? For me, I grew up as a social worker. I see damaged kids, right? So when I got divorced, I made Anaya my world, right? Because I know what it is when parents let them down and how they navigate the world badly, right? So I knew Anaya needed to see her daddy make her primary. And I did. And it worked, Xavier. It worked. So now I'm the poster boy of Black father parenting of a kid, even if you with or without somebody, right? That's why I've won Father of the Year 3 times, because people watched my walk with my daughter and because it was unheard of. I'm a unicorn, and really I'm not. It's a lot of daddies doing what Khalid does, but we're not on the forefront, right?
Yep.
So the thing is, we got to learn from where we saw the errors at. My granddaddy beat my grandmother. My granddaddy had kids outside the marriage. I've only cheated once, and it was not on that, and I was transitioning out from the young lady. You know what I'm saying? Because we were broken up already. No excuse, but that's the one time I did it. So I learned from seeing a mother who was a mistress. Cheating and infidelity ain't the goal. It ain't the goal. It ain't the goal. So I learned early on about not being a fool. I've even loved friends. Like, I'm an only child, X. So what happens is when I became friends with people, I don't just see you as a friend, I see you as my sibling. Because when you're an only child, you want the closeness of people.
Yep.
Because you have to grow up by yourself, at least me, right?
I'm an only child too, so I totally understand.
Okay, so what happens is, but I remember my mother's told me a long time ago when I was an adult, she said, I hated how you let people in your life and you gave them such high regard because you longed for a brother and sister. I said, yeah, Ma, I did. But she said, what happens is, if you think about it, your friends, they grew up with siblings. So the reason why they didn't give you what you gave them, that wasn't what they was longing for. You were longing for siblings. They was just looking for you to be a buddy. And that was so impactful to hear that, especially from my mother, right? Because when you're an only kid, you got to navigate this world by yourself. You got to protect yourself.
Yep.
And you just want a village wrapped around you, looking out for you. But then I'm hearing siblings like, I can't stand my goddamn sister. I hate my brother.
I hear that too. Fortunately, not from my kids, but I hear that from other people too. Mm-hmm.
They like, let mama die. I'm the one that got to take care of her funeral arrangements. I ain't gonna get no help from them.
And
So
it's
now
funny
I'm
that you
like,
said that.
wow.
Mm-hmm. It's funny you said
So
that
that's what I'm
because I
saying.
had.
So I was foolish.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying it's funny that you said that because when I was taking care of my mom, I was talking to one of my friend girls, and I was saying, it's really hard when you're an only child because you don't have any help. And she said that's not just only child because she got 9 siblings. There's 10 of them. She said
Woo.
if your siblings don't do anything, if they're not helping, if they're not doing anything, it's just like being an only child. You still don't have any help. There's still nobody to call. So just
That's
because you
true.
have siblings doesn't mean that they're helpful people. It just means that you have people that should be doing something that's not, which is
Right.
worse. I think that's worse.
Absolutely. But see, remember, when you long for something, you make up a fairy tale in your head about it. So if you're fatherless, you make your daddy Heathcliff Huxtable, right? Because you like, I got to have a good image. And it's because I'm longing for this person, I'm going to make them the best image possible, right? I wished I was one of the Brady kids, I wish I lived in a house full of siblings. You know what I'm saying? To have fun with da, 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 da. So imagine when you're lacking love, you really come up with a fairy tale about how you want it to look like, right? And that's what gets us in trouble. That's what gets us in trouble. I wanted my wife to be Claire Huxtable. I wanted Claire Huxtable.
I can see that. I can see that you would do that.
Right, but my ex-wife was Lynn on Girlfriends. He was. My ex-wife liked doing her. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You completely missed the mark.
Right.
That is so funny.
Right.
Except they're both very smart. They're both very intellectual women. Yes,
Absolutely.
they're both very intellectual.
My ex-wife has 4 degrees. So she's a genius. But she liked doing her. And I get it. But again, I created a fairy tale based on me not having it in the first place. So that's why I was a fool. It is a reason why we all play fool in relationships. It's a reason why, because at the end of the day, we're trying to get a need met. We're trying to get a need met, and now that we are aware, now we got to do the work. I was working with a client, and she became my client because she was upset because of a breakup, right? Most of my clients, I'm with them, they're in my practice because of relationship issues. Well, this person, she had this boyfriend, he was very dysfunctional. She was going to break up with him. He ended up breaking with her by ghosting her.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then a month or so later, went on the internet and saw that he was engaged to another woman.
Ooh, I had a friend that went through, I had 2 friends actually that went through that. That I can't even imagine that. Yeah. Engaged.
Right.
I have a girlfriend, her guy went on a golf trip. That's what he told her. Went on a golf trip with his buddies, supposedly. And she found out that he actually went out of town and got married.
Got you. And see what happened was, so then I said, well, you do know God spared you then, right? Because if he's engaged, that means he was with her while he was with you. But she was still devastated and still heartbroken because she thought she found the one.
Yeah.
Right? And so it took months and months of hardcore therapy to get her to her balance again. That's how much we invest in other people. So that's why I go with the thing now. Anytime I do a speaking engagement and they ask me what's my last words, I tell people now, have the greatest love affair with yourself first.
Yes.
Because if you do that, your expectations will go up higher.
Absolutely.
Your expectations will go up higher. I had a friend who was messing with a married person. And I said, long as you manage, I don't want you to do this, but I know you're going to do it, right? Manage the expectation. When that person comes to see you, you know that's your time. But when they go home, shut up about it. See, I learned that from my mother. My mother, when Mr. Lee was there, it was all about Mr. Lee. But when he left to go home, she understood he going home to Dorothy. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And let me shut my butt up because next month is rent due.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I got you. But my thing is, it's about managing your expectations. And the minute it doesn't feel right to you, do something different about it.
So we got some more comments. I want to get them in before the show ends. So someone said, what about Chris Rock? How do we respond to his assault?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We respond like how the people in Boston did the other night when he did his show. Those people gave him a round of applause for 2 minutes, right? They was hugging him, loving on him. All of his shows are selling out now. So we're letting them know, brother, you were the victim. You were the victim. And at first people was kind of, well, he shouldn't have did that. But then when people let it sink in, the man didn't do anything. He just happened to be collateral damage. So he didn't do anything. So I'm sure, and then I'm listening to celebrities, Jim Carrey, Wanda Sykes. They like, that's my friend.
Yep.
F. Will Smith right now. That's my friend.
And the other comedians, they also, you know, of course, other comedians are like, okay, this is what we do. We have another comment about the whole comedy thing. They said pain is in the eyes of the beholder. Just because we laugh at jokes, it does not mean that it's funny at the victim's core. Laughing can be a form of anxiety to cover embarrassment and shame. People cover their pain with laughter. As a therapist, I see people in pain by others who believe a joke is a joke, but not to the recipient of that joke. And I agree that, you know, people do, you know, it can be a painful thing. You know, when I was a kid, I got teased because at the time, my 2 front teeth, they came in big. You know, now my smile is like my trademark, but at the time when they were calling me Bucky Beaver and Rabbit Tooth and stuff, that was very painful for me. But you know, once you become okay, even at your worst moment, when you become okay with yourself and what you're going through, then you can deal with those things. You can say it's a joke. You got to separate a joke from a comedian in a public place from a bullying thing in a private situation where somebody is meaning to be hurtful towards you. I think you have, at some point, you have to understand there is a difference. And I understand that jokes can hurt. I was bullied my whole 5th grade year in grade school. You know, I understand that jokes can hurt and people can hurt, but they're in this situation, I just don't see that. I don't think that was Chris Rock's intent, and I don't know why it would have been taken that way. Okay, and so then there's another comment that says, Jada said her grandmother had an open marriage and started teaching her to masturbate at age 9. That's child abuse. She then admitted she had developed a sexual addiction as a result of it and other things she was exposed to.
Wow. So that's what I'm saying. That's why clinicians have to learn backgrounds of our clients, because then it paints the picture, right?
Let me throw one more in there. So as you talk about painting the picture, there's one more that says, I think we're all missing another component, the fact that Will Smith has a reputation of drinking in Hollywood. He also has a reputation of a harsh temper. I never heard that part.
I've never heard that before.
Me
I've never heard that before. Other than what Janet Hubert used to say about him, you know what I'm saying? You know, and I saw a meme like she's holding a champagne glass saying, I told y'all.
Yes, I saw that.
You know what I'm saying? You know, but again, this is why you got to peel the layers. And again, guys, we still got to remember, we're in the middle of a pandemic still. We're in a war that we might have to participate in eventually, right? The gas prices, we all transitioning, going back into the office now, you know? So we all got stuff we dealing with. We got stuff we dealing with. My daughter always asks me, Daddy, why do you watch those crazy Tyler Perry shows? Because I said, Anaya, at night when I come home, I want to be brain dead.
Right.
I don't want to think. Yeah. So I watch those crazy Tyler Perry shows, not only one to support Blacks in cinema, but also just so I could just chuckle and fall asleep.
Yeah.
You know what
Sometimes
I'm
you just
saying?
want to laugh. You don't even want to deal with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's why I'm saying when we know we've been foolish, we got to decide that you don't want to be a fool no more. And then you got to put the work behind it. And that's the message I wanted to convey, today is that you can be a fool in love, but it comes with consequences, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't want to play fool no more, you got to start taking the steps to do better. And I say this to wrap it up, Xavier. And let me ask you a question. If Jada Smith was your absolute best friend, I want you to think about that. If she was your best friend and you flew into Hollywood to see her tomorrow on Saturday, and y'all was going to lunch on Rodeo Drive, what would you say to her?
I would absolutely suggest that she get some help because she's dealing with something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would absolutely suggest that because
Absolutely.
there's just no way that, in my viewpoint, there's no way she should have expected, encouraged, or allowed that to happen. Because at that moment, she was the only one that could have stopped him. She was the only one that could have stopped him, and she didn't. I mean, besides himself, of course, he could have stopped himself. Like I said, he had plenty of time to change his mind as he walked up there. But other than him, she was the only one that could have stopped him. And that would have been my conversation with her. Like, why didn't you stop Will? What is really going on with y'all? Why would you let him make a spectacle of himself and draw all this? It's a lot of negative attention, and it's really falling a lot on her. And to me, she stole the show pretty much, because the whole show now, the whole talk is about Jada and her. If she didn't want anybody, well, I guess she did want somebody to know she had alopecia because she apparently told it out in public. But now the focus is really on her, and there are comedians going in on her left and right. So
right. Now listen to this, X, because this is going to be one of these aha moments for everybody. Because see, again, I look at stuff over the top. 5 years ago, she protested the Oscars, didn't she? Because they didn't nominate him. And she was like, damn, I'm tired of the way they treat our people. She got the best revenge Sunday night for all the jokes that was made behind her. So maybe that's why she let her husband go up there and smack that dude. See, again, when you learn about people, then it will make you understand the WHY. See, she just got her revenge Sunday night from all the jokes from 5 years ago talking about her because she was protesting.
Well, then I guess they better not let her go back no more, because
probably not.
She gonna get some more revenge, because it's way more. Because I didn't even know about her protesting before. I don't really follow that stuff, but I heard about it. And if that's what her issue was from 6 years ago, she really needs to learn something about forgiveness or something, because I don't even remember what happened in 2016. Well, yeah, I do. I started taking care of my mom. But other than that being a still ongoing situation, I don't even remember half the stuff that happened in 2016. So I can't even understand. But okay, so we are wrapping up because we got the next people coming on. So when is your next show?
Okay, my next show is, oh my goodness, I wasn't expecting this. Let me find, I need the calendar, please help me, Jesus. It's the first Friday and my calendar is not coming up. I hate this thing right now. Help me, Xavier, what's the date?
I don't know, because I told y'all to know when your next show is.
Absolutely. The next date is May 6th, right? And we're going to be talking about religion and love.
Oh, Lord. You know what?
Yes.
So on last month, of course, we had a major faux pas that I did not expect to be a faux pas. And you were going to talk about love and children. And one of the things that I actually liked about the fact that I had my friend sitting in for me is because, you know, the unicorn that you are as a father, he's one of us as well. And he has 3 daughters. And I really wanted to give you both of you single fathers an opportunity to actually discuss love and
Mm.
children. I thought that was going to be very interesting because it's not a conversation that's heard very often.
You know what? Then I'll do this. I'll do a half and half. So maybe the first half an hour will be love and children, and then the last 30 minutes will be love and relationships.
Okay, and so we
Because
had a lot of we
it
have
all intertwines.
we have a lot of comments, and so what I want to do later on, if you can pop onto the radio station group page, let's talk about it with Xavier Fox. I'm going to copy these comments from this segment and I'm going to post them.
Okay.
Maybe you can respond to them that way.
Oh, sure will.
We've got lots of comments. So, all right. Well, thank you for this show. It was a great show.
Yes, indeed, as
it
always.
was so great. We're going to have to continue it on the radio group. Let's talk about it with Xavier Fox. It's a Facebook group, and let's talk about it with Xavier Fox, and we'll continue that with all of the comments that we still have.